In 2 days, Burnley had managed just 55 abandoned minutes, so they were fit and ready to run off all that excess at Southend's expense. Andy Saville scored his first Burnley goal, and Adrian Heath went on to terrorise the Southend defence in his bustling, busy way. John Gale volleyed in the second. Southend's manager Peter Taylor can only hope for more resolve from his players away from home in '95. Some slapstick defending culminated in Graham Bressington's own goal. By the finish, Bressington had been sent off, teammate Phil Gridlett and Burnley's Jerry Harrison had joined him, and 3 more goals had been scored. Roger Willis bundled one back. But Burnley finished as they'd started, with a double whammy. Skipper Steve Davis stumps in a free kick, and Heath still had enough energy to twist and turn. And this time Liam Robinson was the Burnley striker to benefit. Burnley move out of the relegation places. No side needs more belief that things can only get better in '95 than Notts County. This was another hard luck story of missed chances that had another unhappy ending when Paul Telfer drove in the only goal. A point each on New Year's Day for two sides who began the season with promotion aspirations. Alex Ray's individual goal looked like stretching Millwall's run of victories to 7. Until Charlton found a way through a defence that had been beaten just twice in December. John Robinson gets in on the blind side, 1-1 in South London.
Barry Fry's Birmingham went top of the table in some style. The 7-1 thrashing of Blackpool was their best league win for 35 years, but they had to recover from an early setback as Darren Bradshaw gave the visitors a surprise 8th-minute lead. Any hopes they harboured of springing an upset disappeared when the hero of the moment, Bradshaw, put through his own net. From then on, Birmingham were in control. Louis Donowa brought St Andrews to life with a neat finish from a tight angle. And 8 minutes before the interval, Steve Claridge confirmed their superiority with a magnificent effort. Ricky Otto, who's made such a huge impact in his short time at the club, then set up Kenny Lowe to put the match beyond Blackpool, but Birmingham were far from finished. The arrival of Otto at St Andrews had threatened Donowa's first-team place, but he's been playing well of late, and he was on hand to add to their lead in the second half with his second of the game. Steve Claridge, who'd missed a succession of excellent scoring opportunities, netted his second. Blackpool were down and out. George Paris completed the rout to make it 7-1 and stretch their unbeaten run to 19 games. The only consolation for Blackpool keeper Mel Capleton, his cousin Ricky Otto, failed to find the net for Birmingham. High-scoring Brentford continued their climb up the table at the expense of Oxford. The strike partnership of Nicky Forster and Robert Taylor certainly hit it off. Forster accepted the only clear-cut chance to come his way, and Taylor sealed it late on as Dave Webb's team ended the year on a high. A shock looked on at Adams Park, where bottom club Bournemouth stunned one of the division's in-form teams. Steve Robinson's header put them on course for their first away triumph of the campaign. They held on to that lead until deep in injury time, when Dave Carroll's long-range free kick flew into the top corner to earn Wycombe a point. Swansea's upturn in form has been due in part to the goal-scoring exploits of Steve Torpey. Andy Booth had put Huddersfield in the driving seat, but Torpey popped up 3 minutes from time to make it 1-1 and keep the momentum going. Little to smile about, though, for Leyton Orient, who lost away again 3-0 at Crewe. Brighton made it 5 games without defeat, but twice let the lead slip at Boothby Park. Mind you, manager Liam Brady must be used to that. Jeff Minton gave Albion hope, only for Linton Brown to equalise as both sides try to come to terms with the appalling conditions. Brady, who'd wanted the game called off, then watched as Adi Akumbaye restored their advantage. But all the good work was undone as Dean Windass nodded Hull level. To complete a frustrating day for Brighton, their team coach was broken into, ending the year on a sour note. Bristol Rovers appear unstoppable on current form. This was their 6th successive win. They never looked back from the moment Lee Archer curled a corner kick into the Chester net. Marcus Stewart, one of the division's brightest talents, kept up his goal-a-game record. How long can Rovers hold on to his services? Archer then crashed in a spectacular second to leave Chester deep in relegation trouble. Carl Shutt took only 2 minutes to put his name on the score sheet at Edgeley Park. Bradford's much-travelled striker wasn't going to be denied from that sort of range. John Taylor put the visitors in an even healthier position a minute after the restart with a low drive which found the target. Kevin Francis replied for Stockport in the final minutes. The giant striker is doing his very best to rebuild his confidence after a dream move to Birmingham broke down at the final moment. There was never a dull moment for Prime Minister John Major, who ventured out to watch this local derby. Ken Charlery's clever lob paid off handsomely. Peterborough's lead, though, was short-lived. Jason Lillis poked in the equaliser. He arrived unmarked in the box to accept the simplest of chances. Lillis grabbed his second of the game on 81 minutes. The Cambridge striker made room for the shot and produced the perfect finish. Charlery, the Peterborough captain, had the last laugh with a close-range header to make it 2-2, and that's how it finished. Cardiff City ended 1994 on a low note. Rotherham added to their relegation worries. Mark Mornington struck for the home side 2 minutes before the interval. And then defender Ian Brecken sealed the victory with another classic header. The postponement of Bury's meeting with Torquay at Gig Lane allowed Carlisle to stretch their lead at the top of Division 3. One goal proved enough. Dean Walling scored the winner at Gillingham. Chris Nicholas certainly transformed Walsall into a formidable outfit. Chris Marsh knocked in the only goal of the game to move them up to 2nd place in the table. Chesterfield's 3rd successive league victory would have been more emphatic but for some heroic goalkeeping from Andy Leaning. He was powerless, though, to prevent Phil Robinson's headed goal. 1-0 to Chesterfield. Colchester striker Steve Whitten won't forget this match in a hurry. Hereford went in front from a set piece. John Brott's looping header crept in. Worse was to follow for Colchester, as Whitten, attempting to clear his goal, only succeeded in heading past his own keeper. Colchester launched a comeback in the second half. Paul Stoneman's crisp volley reduced the arrears before Whitten pounced 2 minutes from time to complete the revival and atone for his earlier error. Fulham chairman Jimmy Hill, awarded an OBE in the New Year's honours list, was at the Victoria Ground to see his side fall behind to a penalty from Nicky Southall. The visitors, though, level before the interval, courtesy of Nick Cusack's near-post header. Homekeeper Brian Horn handed Fulham victory on a plate. He failed to deal with Gary Brazil's left-wing cross. The ball dropped in under the crossbar.
This season heralded